Okay. But anyway, what's on your mind, kid?
This is my brother Eric. Over the years, a lot has happened to this guy. A lot bordering on the ridiculous. And everyone in my family knows this because he would constantly tell us these stories about his misadventures. Now, it's hard to determine exactly what's true and what's not, and we are mainly going on the word of a somewhat unreliable narrator. These days, most of the stories he's told have been retired. But I've been able to convince him to dust off these old tales and share them with us on this podcast.
Do I need to hit record or anything?
No, I'm already recording. These are stories my brother used to tell. Today's story, the Pink Panther. For this story, we're going all the way back to 1988. And like a lot of Eric's stories, it starts off with one simple thing. It starts off with a car. And the car we're talking about today, for Eric, was a thing of beauty. A 1981 Toyota Celica.
That car is technically my third car. So when I think back on that, it actually is a pretty good score for me. I felt like it was an amazing car. So my first two cars had gone disastrously. And now I've gone from buying them off an actual lot to finding this car really not intentionally. It was on like sort of an empty lot situation where some ambitious guy would put 5 or 6 of his cars. But this guy was way more ahead of that. He probably had 20, 25 cars, and he would put 5 or 6 in different locales. So I see the car, and of course it says exactly the sort of things I need to see at the time, which is something like low down payments. It might have even said something like $999. And then I call the guy, and it turns out that it's like $3,500. And the $999 is the down payment. So it's nowhere near as good as I thought. But it was good enough that in his conversation with me, it's like, yeah, we could do this. And I don't even know if there's credit check or not. He asked me whatever the questions are that for him to determine if I'm worth it. I'm working at Cafe Italia at the time, so I'm bringing home $650 cash at the time.
A week. That's pretty good for 1988?
1988.
And how old are you?
I'm 18, 19.
Eric is pretty set. He's still living at home and pulling in some good money. And he doesn't really have any bills other than the car. Now, he did have to pitch in a little rent.
Dad is charging me like $100, $150 a month. A week. $100 a week for rent. That's what he's charging me. And this is early days. I'm paying $400 a month to live in my fucking room. Okay? But does it come with like towel service, maid, anything? No. It's the same old kitchen's closed after 9 p.m. So I have $550, in other words, basically disposable cash every week. So that's pretty good. So I can afford whatever this guy's going to throw at me. And I don't remember, but I think it was something like $300 a month, something like that, which was my biggest, most significant bill. So then once a month, I either have to put it in an envelope and send it to him, or I got to meet him.
The idea of meeting some guy somewhere to hand him an envelope stuffed with cash to make your car payment these days just sounds absurd. And if I'm being honest, it still sounds pretty crazy even for 1988.
I know. It's the 80s, right? Honestly, I'm at the low end of the intelligence spectrum. So I don't know, other than tell you this is my experience. And then the guy's name was something like Chewy. He was a little scary sounding, but he was making a big effort at first. No, yeah, you come on, I make the deal with you. Yeah, sure. This is right up my alley, okay? Because I am into getting it done on my own. This guy, this is how it's done? Okay, great. So I go and I bring him, I don't know, I guess I had $1,000. So I bring him that, and then I do the payments. I have, in my group of underworld figures, I have one of the coolest cars around, is my 1981 Celica. So I'm very impressed with my own little life.
I know. Listening to this, you don't have any idea how much interest Eric was paying or even how long his payments would go for. But these are facts that even Eric himself never knew.
I probably don't see anything where I signed whatever and it said, you now owe these payments in perpetuity. You pay until the car dies or you first, whichever. I have no idea. But you have to figure it wasn't like no financing, right? And since I don't tell anybody, I just, hey, here's $1,000. He gives me the key to the car right there. I'm ahead.
And for Eric, this meant that for the first time in his young life, having a car that was made in the same decade he was driving it.
So now, again, I'm cruising along, no pun intended, pretty well, because it's a very affordable situation for me. Now, there might be a hiccup or two, right? And the reason I bring that up is because somewhere along the way, maybe I tell him, hey, Chewy, I didn't get to put it in the mail. I'm going to do it today, something like that, right? And this is when he first explains to me, okay, listen, that's fine, okay? But you don't want to get into this area with me because if our agreement is broken in some way, then I'm going to have to take the car. I'm like, okay. And I don't know how threatened I feel by that, but I hear you talking. And because part of the thought in my head is he's never even been to my house, right? So, and I know he's like in Coral Gables or something. So he's a good ways away. So I'm thinking, all right, so if push came to shove, are you really thinking you're going to get the car back from me? Not that even matters, right? Because do I have registration? I don't even know. I'm pretty sure I have registration, right? No, I have to. Here, I'll tell you why I have to have registration is because Joe D, of course, is somewhat involved at this point because the car's at the house. He wants to check it out.
Okay, I have to quickly explain this. Anytime Eric says the name Joe D, he's referring to our father, who used to sign greeting cards, even to my mother, as Joe D, as though maybe she'd be confused with who was giving her that happy anniversary card. And he wasn't doing this to be funny either. This is just how he did things. Happy anniversary, love you, Joe D.
And honestly, the fun part for me is that he tries to find a way to criticize the situation. He really doesn't. Like, the car seems to be in good shape. The deal I made, as far as at least what I'm telling him, and I'm not lying, but I don't know how long my payments are for. It probably seems like it is a $3,000-$4,000 car, probably. So he's kind of okay with it. And so I'm sure in all that I have registration. But what I'm saying is, how long is that going to last me once I try to, like if I try to evade with the car or something? Then obviously you have until registration's up because I don't own the car anymore. So he gives me this speech, right? And again, I'm thinking, okay, yeah. He says, no, but I'm serious, okay? Because, I got a guy. And my guy that comes to repossess the cars, he's the best in the world. He wants to put that in my head.
It's not as though Eric's particularly delinquent in his car payment at this point. I know that me personally would feel a bit offended at how quickly the threats of repossession are coming.
Our relationship changes because I feel exactly the way you're saying. Like, I feel a little bit offended that you're bringing this up because honestly, I wasn't trying to get away with anything. But he gives me the speech, and I'm sure it's like this. Let me warn you, just in case, you 19-year-old punk, if you're thinking about getting cute with me and doing the whole checks in the mail and nonsense. He's like, look, I've sold 217 of these cars and I've repossessed 67 of them. I've gone through this. I've heard this before. Like, so I got to tell you, okay, if you're going to get cute, I got to bring in the best one. He's the best in the world. He's never defeated, okay? You never see him. They call him the Pink Panther. He comes in the middle of the night. You'll never see him. You'll never know what happened. You'll look out, and the car is gone.
Are you supposed to be intimidated when he throws out the name the Pink Panther? I mean, I don't really think that name instills any kind of fear.
It might be like, well, think about this. All right, it is 1988, so we're still in like the Pink Panther zeitgeist a little bit.
I need to be clear about something here. There was no such thing as a Pink Panther zeitgeist.
I don't know. Because, right, it's not the name you want to attach to. It's not the Phantom. It's the Pink Panther. So who knows if this guy Chewie attached the name, or the guy showed up and he's like, right, hey, I'm from the 40s before they had a Pink Panther.
I'm going to make a guess. The tow truck he drove was pink, and therefore he earned this nickname.
That's cute. Okay. And here's why we can't confirm that or deny it, is because nobody's ever seen the tow truck. I do know it was a flatbed. He told me. And he was like, this is how efficient it is. All right. So there's not even any big hookup. All right. So what happens is he rolls up, he ramps it down, he slides your bitch up, and he's gone before you know what happened.
All right. So he tells you all this, and how do you take it?
Oh, with the tremendous grain of salt. Yes. I'm like, yeah. All right, two things. A, I don't feel like this is ever going to be the issue. And B, it's not intimidating in the slightest that this would be the case. I can't imagine that I couldn't, if need be, that I couldn't evade capture. Those are my thoughts.
Those are understandable thoughts, especially considering that your age.
I'm a 19-year-old maroon. So, of course, I'm thinking, right, challenge.
So what happens from here with your car?
Everything's going just fine. And then I get into a tremendous brouhaha with my current girlfriend, and the relationship goes kablooey. And so when that happens, a couple things are going on. One is that we both work in the same place. And so at the time, I was picking her up and taking her home and all that stuff. And so when this happens, she's really affected by the whole situation, in particular the fact that she can't get herself back and forth to work. I, on the other hand, and this doesn't sound great at all in the beginning here, it just sounds stupid, but I kind of feel like I don't really need the car. And so, like, my life right at the time, it's very good. I get myself to work with Pierre, who also works there.
Okay, friend of yours.
Right, so I often stay over there at his place because he's got no parents whatsoever. So we hang out 2-3 days at a time sometimes. He and I get back and forth to work, no big deal. If I'm doing anything, there are people around. It's just like, I don't know, it's such an immature way to look at it, but it's like, I don't really need this car. So why don't I do the gallant thing and let her have the car to transition into the next thing for her?
Okay.
There are a couple of things. Obviously, I don't own the car. So if anybody mature were involved, you might say, okay, well, listen, this isn't really yours to give, first of all. And oh, by the way, you still pay your car payment at the end of the month. See how you feel then, you know?
I see. Okay. Now, wait, you're giving her the car to use, or you're giving her the car as like, here, it's now your car?
No. I'm giving her the car until she gets a better situation, because this just happened. I mean, we weren't living together, but in the girlfriend-boyfriend terms of the 80s, it was a little bit like I put her out on the street. So she relied on me in several ways. So the car being a big part of it. So no, have the car until you get your situation right. And I don't know what her situation is going to be, but what I don't want, part of it is this too, is because she works with me, I'm not stupid either. I'm trying to like maybe avoid some confrontations over stuff like, now I don't have a car and look at you walking in with the car with your cool Celica. You're getting all that Celica love. Got a lot of love with that car. So it was like that, right? Go ahead, take the car. And obviously, okay, she's not going anywhere. She works here. She's lived here her whole life. So it's not like I'm not going to be on top of this whenever I want to be. So I'm not that worried about it. So now after, I don't know, maybe a month, maybe a little over a month, I'm not sure. She decides, and probably rightfully so, because again, it's the teenage version of this, but like in the relationship, the friends kind of go my way, like the worker. I'm the one with leverage at the restaurant. Right? You know that. Right. I'm basically running that restaurant at 19 years old, and she just works there. She's a server. She comes in. She was going to school at the time, so it's nowhere near as invested for her. So the whole job thing sort of seems like, yeah, I don't really want to be here as much as I thought. And maybe she thought she'd sway the tide, and that didn't happen. And it's not like I was campaigning against her, but it was just like, that's how it's working out. So she decides that she's going to go live somewhere else, which is like northern Florida. And we're in South Florida. So she's going to go move somewhere that's like north of Orlando. I'm thinking like it was maybe DeLand or something. So at this point, I see no problem with this because honestly, things are a little awkward between the two of us at the job, and the interactions, we're trying to be civil, but it's awkward. And of course, there are times, believe it or not, where I've said to myself in the last 5-6 weeks, I really could have used having my car. That wouldn't have been such a bad thing. When she brings this up, I say, yeah, okay, all right. So she's going to go up there. She's doing that for the betterment of herself. She's going to get, and I honestly sympathize, she's going to get away from whatever I represent here. We broke up. It's not fun. It's a little crappy. The place reminds her, et cetera, et cetera. She's going to get away from all that. I want better for her. And if this is what it's going to take, that's good for her. And then this is going to free me up to some extent now. I don't feel like when I walk in, I can't be having fun, because I have that feeling. It's like, don't laugh too hard at things. So all of this looks good on paper. Now, the idea that I don't know who the aunt is or the cousin is, that doesn't impact me very much. But that's how it was. For all I don't know that there's an aunt. She just says there is. No problem. Why wouldn't there be? And so it's something like a week from now. Okay. So now it's a little bit of Operation Countdown, because now as it becomes a reality, it's like, oh, this is starting to sound good to me. The plan is I'm going to go to the house where I'm completely unwelcome, by the way, and I'm going to get my car and my keys. That's the plan. Now, I don't even inquire as to how she's making the sojourn. Nothing like that. That's really your business. I don't want to get into anything where it could be difficult conversation. So, okay, all right. So I'll be there. I'll go and pick it up. Okay. All right. Well, you take care of yourself, and my number, I don't know yours. And so when you get there, you can contact me, whatever. That's her. That's I'll contact you. Okay.
The day comes, and Eric very excitedly calls up his French-Canadian friend Pierre.
Hey, Pierre, it's 8:00. Let's go pick up my car. He's like, okay, let's do it. This is going to be great. Yeah, because now we're going to be cool guys in a car again, okay? Even when I had the car previously, cool guys in a car didn't really happen because I had a girlfriend. So there wasn't a lot of let's go out and be cool guys in a car. It was like Pierre's in the back seat. That's how it was. We arrive at the house, and the first thing I notice, my car's not in the driveway.
Eric is not too worried about the fact that his car that he's there to pick up was not there.
Okay, so it must be a mix-up. This is legit. That's my thought. Must be a mix-up. Knock on the door and get to the bottom of this. I gotta get to the bottom of it. So Pierre's waiting in the Subaru in the driveway for me, so you can follow me out, whatever. I knock on the door. The dad answers. If anybody hates me the most, it's him. And he's got this look like,
what the fuck are you doing here?
Like that, right? I mean, if I had any savvy at all, I would realize he wasn't expecting me. But all I really am thinking is, what the hell is this problem? That's what I'm thinking. And he's like,
what do you want?
Well, I'm here to pick up my car because she went to DeLand today. And so the idea was that she left you the keys here and that my car would be here so I could pick it up. So I just need to get the key, and I don't know if something changed, if the car's somewhere else or if somebody's in it, or I'm not sure. And he's like,
she didn't say anything like that to me.
Oh, maybe we do have a mix-up here. Maybe we have a little problem here. Okay. All right, this might take a little brain power for the two of us here to work it out. Let's work it out.
Does he want to work it out?
No, he doesn't want to work it out. Because the next thing that the next thing that he tells me is,
That's the car she took to the land.
And what do you say to that?
wow, I am honestly mild shock. Like, I'm having a little flashback right now. Like, I feel lightheaded. I can't honestly process all the... There's a feeling of, like, tremendous betrayal. There's a feeling of fear because of the loss. What does that represent? The whatever setup this is. I can't even put it all together. It's so bad that I'm standing there while he's just looking at me like...
Yeah. You don't have a car, bro.
And all I could do is, like, you just leave. If I were more adult, I mean, I would say things like, okay, obviously who the aunt is, right? Like, if I were a man, a real man, no, we have things to talk about. Your daughter has stolen my car. That's A. She took it without my permission. She has it. You just admitted that to me. You know where it is, and you know the name of the person and probably contact information for these people. So let's go to the next thing before I take this to a level you don't want it to go. Right? Those are man kind of things that would happen in this moment. Man-child things happen. Those things are like, well, okay, I guess all right, well, good night. I accept his, like, you're fucked on this. I accept that. Like, his attitude of that is what he's giving, and I accept it.
Does he seem to enjoy this?
He definitely does. And the thing is, though, he's an angry guy, right? He's just like there's almost no time that I didn't see him that he wasn't somewhat angry. So his way of enjoying it is more like through the anger. So it's not like he's snicker, see you sucker. It's not like that. It's more like,
Yeah, that's right. That's what you get.
and then when I get in the car, of course, Pierre has a little bit of that attitude of like, bullshit. That's bullshit. Let's go. Let's do something. And I'm like, my attitude is like, all right, so no, obviously she knows she's got to contact me. And so I'm going to play it out for that. That's my first thought, is that she's going to tell me something. And then I also think he's not probably the best one to try and communicate to as far as getting something I need. So her sister lives there. I know her sister. Thinking maybe, I don't know when I start to think this, but I'm thinking maybe there'll be a phone call that I make to her in the next couple of days. Again, knowing that the car isn't the necessity that it could be, this influences the situation too, right? If I need it as desperately as some might to get to work and everything, I might be reacting tonight. But I'm not. I'm going to let it play out. If I make any moves, I don't get anywhere with them. So eventually she calls, and I guess back then again, you couldn't know when you were going to get somebody. So who knows if it's the first call or not, but eventually she gets me. And her attitude is like,
yeah, I totally did this to you. And I did it because I needed to. Like, I was completely 100% justified because I couldn't get there and start doing a life up there without a car. So I wasn't going to be able to tell you that. So I had to just do it because I had the car.
now that's got me a little hot. I'm in the worst situation as far as this goes, as far as I know, because again, I'm not consulting my parent. They don't know. They don't know anything about this. I have no adult counsel. So I'm still thinking, without her, I don't get the car back. That's what I'm thinking. So I've got to get her to where she wants to play ball with me. And so, got it. Okay, right. You needed the car. You didn't think I would be cool. So you just took it and yanked it out from under me and put me through the whole going to your door like a jackass thing. Okay, got it. What's next? Right? And she's like,
Well, I'm gonna get a job here, and I'm gonna get myself back in school. I'm gonna get my act together, the whole thing. And so when I do,
ugh.
I'll bring it back. I'm gonna bring it back to you.
Oh, okay. All right. Great. So I have no idea when. There's no timeline for anything. I accept this, right? Because again, when I say what am I going to do, obviously there's things I could do. But in my little tiny world, it's what am I going to do? I probably go to work, and over the next period of time, I discuss it with an adult or two, like Frank, my boss. And he is, of course, up in arms about this. No, there's things we can do. We could call the cops. We could do this. We could do that. We could make a big mess. And at that point, I run through all those things and decide, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. No, it's gonna come back.
So life continues for Eric as it did before, without a car. Though he was sure that one day it would magically reappear. And then it's time for the car payment. Except the idea of paying for a car that you don't actually have or even know where it is, well, that doesn't sit too well with Eric.
Like a moron, I call Chewy, and I'm and I'm like, "You're never gonna believe what happened, Chewy." No, why don't you tell me? Okay, well, you know my girlfriend, right? You met her, right? Yeah. Okay, so we broke up, and I was letting her drive the car, and she took the car. So she's up in somewhere else. I'm not even sure where she's at, and so I don't have the car right now. And I expect. I don't know what I expect some kind of, oh, wow, well, we have a document for that you could fill out. That's an X27. All right, I understand. No problem. I'm going to make you exempt. Here we go. And I'm like, well, so I'm just saying, I don't know. You don't expect me to pay for a car that I don't even have. I mean, like, is that what you expect? Yeah, you're going to do that. That's what you're going to do. And now I get a little, incredibly, stupidly indignant, which is like, wait a minute, you do? You really think I'm going to do that? Yeah. Well, I mean, what are you going to do? That's what I say. Real cute, like, say it like, what can you do to me about this now? Credit and reputation and investment means shit to me. What are you going to do? I don't pay you. Well, the Pink Panther will get involved. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, the Pink Panther. Yeah, you know about him. I told you. You obviously, you sound like you want to meet him. So, okay, this is what is going to have to happen. I'm like, well, all right, okay. I mean, all right, if that's what you have to do. And I feel like joke's on you. That's how I feel. I'm like, oh, that's cute, Chewy. That's all you have up your sleeve, Chewy. Well, I guess too bad for me. Okay, then. All right. So, you have until Tuesday to make your payment. Otherwise, I don't know what to tell you. So now I just figure, all right, well, I guess I don't know. I guess Chewy's going to be chasing a car that doesn't exist. So it goes that way. I may have been thinking about it for maybe the first few days. And then I get used to my same old life, which is I don't have a car. It's gone. I get rides from people and Pierre and etc. and live my little existence.
A couple of months go by with no car and no car payments. Eric is going on about his usual business. And then one day, he's working at the restaurant. And it's one of those insanely busy days. Customers are literally out the door waiting to get in. And in the middle of all of the chaos, something very unexpected happens.
My ex-girlfriend walks in. And of course, a lot of people know her. So it's like noticeable that she's walked in. And then I say, oh my gosh, wow, look at you. And I'm thinking, my car. I'm not saying that. Just, oh my gosh, no. And she's like, hi, yeah, look at me. And she's got like a new haircut and she looks all fresh. And oh, good. Life looks good for you. Okay, how you doing? I don't have a lot of time, but yeah, I need to go ahead, sit down to do. Eventually, I get a little quickie time, 10 minutes or so. I go sit down. So how's it going? She tells me I'm in school and I'm living with so-and-so, my aunt or my cousin, and it's going well. Okay, great. And she's like, and so I brought you your car. And she takes the keys out and puts them on the little table in front of us on the booth. I'm like, oh, good. Wow, no kids, the car's out front? Yeah. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen it in so long. It's great. How's the car? She's like, oh, good. It's good. Okay. I'm trying to control my excitement. I don't want to seem like I want to race out there, but that's what I want to do. So I started giving it another couple of minutes. And it's like, okay, well, let's go see the car. Okay. So we both head out. And again, busy parking lot. So I don't know exactly where it is. She starts walking toward the spot. And we get to the spot. And she has this sort of look like Marsha Mason in Max Dugan Returns, where she's looking around and sees no car. Where's the car? It was right. And I'm like, what spot? Wait, where did you park? Right, it was right here. It was in this spot. Well, that's an empty spot. Where did you, are you sure you parked it? So we're both doing the thing, like looking around. What do you think happened to the car? Son of a gun. All right, well, did you park it around the... Are you sure you parked it?
I know where I parked it.
Okay, because I don't see the car anymore, so are you sure you parked it there? I mean, did you definitely come in the car?
Yeah, I came in the car, I parked it right there, and then I brought it inside to you. I brought you the keys.
Wait a minute. So you have the keys?
Yes, I have the key. Right.
Well, how the heck could somebody get the car out here with no keys? And then it hits me. Like rolling thunder. The Pink Panther? I can't imagine this possibility. But now I have to know. She's been here for like 17 minutes out of the last 90 days, out of the last 14,000 minutes. These 17 minutes that the car was here, that can't be. I can't process it. I can't fathom it. It's another moment that I just can't handle. No way. I go inside. I get my little piece of paper with Chewy's number on it. I call Chewy. Of course, it's been a couple of months. And let me tell you, when he answers the phone and I say, Chewy, he's like, Eric. I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck? Oh, I was thinking I would be hearing from you. What? I've been expecting your call for 16 minutes. Are you? Okay. What are you talking about? Are you looking for something? Yeah, I'm looking for my car. Is there any chance? Well, what can I say? You're a victim of the Pink Panther. I honestly feel like this isn't, there was no reality TV yet, but I don't know what else is like. This can't be a real thing that's happening to me. It cannot be. Honestly, I'm like, this happens in life, in the world. What just happened to me? This girl took the car for 90 days and then you got it? Because all I'm thinking about is, okay, great. I'm going to pay. And I'm going to tell you, I'm pretty sure it's two payments because I'm thinking I owe him $600. I'm going to pay him and then I'm going to have my car. And now it's gone. Here's what's even crazier is that he does this. Okay. So I've invested whatever. I probably paid $2,500 for this car, for this $3,500 car. And now he's taking it back. And now I have no car at all and no prospects. And as ignorant as I am, I end up saying to him like, well, can we fix this? Yeah, we can fix this. I can get you another car. Okay, yeah, but what about the one I already paid you thousands for? And what about that? Oh, no, not that car. No, because that car, I already had so much invested in it, and so now we already broke that contract, and so I'm going to resell that car, so no, I'm going to get you another car.
You're not going to tell me you got another car with this man.
I got another car with this man, okay? This car is like a 1972 Ford four-door shitbox. I don't even know what the heck the name of this car was. It was that red car that was a big, giant four-door, no air conditioner, sounded like the Clampett frickin' jalopy, AM only, and no air conditioning in Florida. I didn't want anybody to see me in it. And it was like the $600 I owed him was just to get into the car. And then I owed him like, oh my God, something stupid, like $2,000.
So in the end, Eric goes back to driving a car from the 70s. Oh, I should mention, though, that in Eric's one phone call with his ex, he did himself attempt to use the threat of the Pink Panther to get his car back.
I told her somewhere along the way on the phone when she was up there, I was like, listen, just so you know, okay, there's a guy seeking the car. His name is, she knew Chewy. So I was like, he sent a guy, the Pink Panther, blah, 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 like to see if that would intimidate her at all. Like I tried to do the same thing he did to me. And I imagine that was the same reaction. I was like, so you never know. You might look out your window. Yes, you might just want to bring it back. You might just want to return it to its rightful owner so you avoid that fate. So that didn't work.
This is the final episode of Stories My Brother Used to Tell. For now, at least. If you've been enjoying the series and you'd like more episodes, then leave us a rating and review. You can do this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and a few other podcast apps. It just might help this series get noticed and help trigger a second season. Thank you for listening to this episode of Stories My Brother Used to Tell. This true story was told to you by Eric Delgado. Produced and edited by me, Dan Delgado. Music by Epidemic Sound. You can also help the show out by buying me and Eric a coffee. Yes, this is really a thing. It's basically a one-time donation. There's a link in the show notes on how to do it, or you can go to buymeacoffee.com/theindustry. You can contact me through email if you like. It is dan@moviemaker.com. I am on Twitter at _Dan_Delgado or on Threads at Dan Delgado 74. Good night.